Welcome everybody to the Business Podcast, where we pour out weekly or somewhat weekly business lessons from business owners and entrepreneurs and this guy. This week, I want to talk to you about the system, the computer system that you're riding your whole business on, whether it's your accounting software, your CRM, or just your inventory management software, your repair order software, all that stuff. I'm going to go through the process that I had to go through to pick a new system, and some of the trials and tribulations that I have experienced in the last 3 weeks. I know I haven't had it's been 2 weeks since I made my last episode about what if, and I'll get into some of that. But right now, time to talk about this episode being sponsored by my brand new book, Sales Won't Save Your Business, all about processes. It's about team and about offers and how you can improve all of them for your business, no matter how big or how small it is. It starts with the basics, and this is where to get it popping from. All right, so man, it has been a crazy first 3 weeks at my family's business. If you haven't been following along, I went back to my family's business starting 3 weeks ago to get the process started of taking over and taking control of all of the systems and the processes and making the place more profitable, more desirable, more customer friendly, more everything. And it has been a wild 3 weeks for me. I want to talk about the process that took place a little bit before all of this. So if you go back a couple of, maybe 4 or 5 weeks before I actually started full time, I was working there, and I was working there part time, doing research on new computer systems. The computer system that they use over at the shop is originated out of the 80s. It's text based. It's based in Unix or Linux, really. It runs on Red Hat now, but before that it was an old Solaris system. And it does some things that have been upgraded over the years, like print out invoices from a LaserJet printer with a logo and all that stuff. So there's some good things about it, but coming into this, I wanted to think about okay, well, what does the future look like as far as what should the capabilities be for today, and where are the capabilities, going to lie for us in the future? How are we going to get to where we want to be? And to me, it's all about, and for anyone that knows me, I love web development. I was a web director at a nonprofit called HopeWorks in Camden, New Jersey, and so for me, everything, even going back to 2005, I remember thinking to myself, why can't all of this information, why do we have to use these Windows software? Why can't we get, and that was in the prime days of Windows viruses galore. Why can't we get to the point where we everything's just online, then we could just install Ubuntu Linux on these computers that's free, there's no licenses and there's no viruses, and we can just get in there and they could do all that stuff. But there were so many programs that they needed for cross-referencing parts and lookup and stuff like that to enable them, our counter guys and women to do their job. And I'm so thankful that the web has developed so much, even just in the last 5 years, to get to the point where you can use QuickBooks Online and it has all the features. Because there was a time where we wanted to switch to QuickBooks Online. I think it was back in 2012, and we were doing it, and we hit a roadblock because there was a set arbitrary limit on the amount of employees or something like that, and then all of a sudden we had to stop and go back to QuickBooks Premier. So when I'm thinking about all this stuff, it's okay, I want a web-based system. I don't want it to be legacy. I don't it's great to have all these years of development based on it, but to me, I don't want to be held hostage to a particular platform. So a platform being Windows or Mac OS or iOS or Android. I want something that could work on everything. And so the search began with, how do I find a system that enables us to just work through a web browser? and it could be Google Chrome, it could be Opera, it could be Firefox, it could be Microsoft Edge, whatever we want. But my whole idea was like, I want to be platform agnostic. That way we can get our equipment costs down. That way we can get, you could look at it from your phone or a tablet. There's no like, oh, well, the app doesn't work like that on this platform. It only works on like that on the I wanted to eliminate all that. Responsive websites are very much the future. Apps help, but it's really the responsiveness that allows us to like, okay, how do we get cheap tablets in the hands of our technicians? If you want to spend $600 on a tablet, be my guest. The iPad's awesome. I would totally recommend it. But you get 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 tablets, and then you start worrying about like, okay, what if they break them? What if something goes wrong? All of these things. So I'm always about, let's find ways to reduce that cost and use like, tablets that do the job and don't cost an arm and a leg when you start multiplying them out by the amount of people. So it's like, okay, so we have to find a system. It's web-based, so we can get tablets in the hands of our techs, in the hands of our people. It can, take signatures and all that stuff. Now, I'm not going to say the name of the company that we wound up going with because they're not sponsoring this episode. And if you find out about this, I would love for you to come and sponsor this episode. I think your software is pretty darn good. But doing the research and really going through it is something that you really don't want to take lightly. You want to make sure that you're going through the motions of doing interviews with the different with the different companies, the customer service support, the sales support, and seeing like, okay, do they really know? Do they allow you to test the software? That was something that I'm a big proponent of. So finding software that I could test on my own and play around with and see all the features and how the ebbs and flows of how things go with it versus like, okay, if I if I buy this system and I can't test it, so I got to invest this amount of money up front just to find out. And that was the other thing, was these web-based systems are so much cheaper, like head over toes or whatever the thing is that people say. It was so much cheaper than like these old legacy systems where it's like, oh, you gotta have a Windows server and you gotta do this, and we do have an iOS app, but we don't have an Android app, or we have an Android app, but we don't have an iOS app, and it opens you up to like, okay, well, great, now we're boxed in and we have to invest all this money just to start to see the return on it. So, being able to test the system and looking for a system that enables you to customize it in the way that you best work, right? Not everybody that's watching this episode or listening to this episode can, has a shop that or a store or company that has 3 employees, and like, okay, so there was systems that we looked at that was like, wow, like this would be awesome if there was like a maximum of like 3 or 4 or 5 employees because of the way that the system workflow goes. It's when you get to, then it's like, okay, well, how do we get a system that can fit into, because we have like 15 employees, so it's like, how do we get to that point where we can use a system that will work for the way we do work now, but just not digital or not paper wise, but digitally. So, I really wanted a system that like could take us from a system that we currently had, which was great for documenting the process. And it was good. It's good for like after the fact, like 3 months down the line when you want to find out what happened. But really, taking a system and putting injecting the digital process into our current workflow, and then enabling it to help the process and speed up production of the shop and speed up the production of decision making, and expanding the ability for more people to make decisions than just 1 or 2 people there at any given moment, because all the information is right there for you to see. It's like, okay, we need a system that fits that model. So that's why I want you to think about like this current system that you have and all of that. Now, I have a ton of ideas for episodes coming up based on the experience that I've had so far working in my family's repair shop and all that. And I would love to talk more about all that today, but I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and make some notes behind me here after and save those topics for other future episodes. And I really want to get more episodes out more regularly, at least every Tuesday. I know this week I have Mid-Atlantic Podcast Conference coming up here in the Philadelphia area. It's happening on Friday, so if you happen to live in the area, or you happen to be traveling to the area, or want to travel to the area and are interested in learning more about podcasting, I'm teaching my own course Friday morning from 9 to 12 before the conference kicks off at 1 o'clock on Friday. So I'd love to have you come out, reach out, email me, we'll get you a ticket. If you personally reach out to me, I'll get you a good discount on a ticket. And we're looking at like 100 people coming out for this conference. This is our 4th year. Next year's our 5th year. I am just pumped for all the people that have decided to make it their annual thing and come and hang out with as I've found out, the MapCon family. So if you're interested in podcasting, or you are a podcaster, go to midatlanticpodcast.com, learn more about it, and it's happening this Friday, and it'll happen next year too as well. So anyway, this episode has been brought to you by my brand new book, Sales Won't Save Your Business. I need to get some water. I'm really thirsty. And it's out now on Amazon. Go to saleswon't.com. It'll help you optimize your team, your offer, your process, as I say, focusing on the top. So I hope everybody has a great week. And I really, really, really want to get some episodes out in the near future. And like I said, I want to do some filming over at the shop, not of like what's going on, because I don't want this to be like a reality show or anything like that, but I want to focus on some topics, and I would love to have the backdrop. If you're watching this on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. If you're listening on iTunes or Android or whatever app, hit the subscribe button so you get every single episode every single week. And I will catch you all next week. Hope you all had a great Labor Day weekend. It's actually Saturday now, so take care.
Thanks for joining us for this episode of The Business Podcast featuring Super Joe Pardo. Get more business content at superjoepardo.com. If you or someone you know would like to be a guest on The Business Podcast, send an email to joe@superjoepardo.com. The Business Podcast is copyrighted to 234 Solutions, LLC.